So then we are back with more understandings from the time of the Second Tabernacle service, where we find in the Aramaic English translation of the word. This translation comes from the original manuscripts of the prophets of the Tzayelic lineage. So then we can understand the time of the end as per Yirmiyahu the prophet, the 61st chapter. Then we understand the time of restoration of the holy cities, laid waste for many centuries. As we understand, then the Gentiles are also included in a holy plan. However, what is going to be then the relationship with the media and government in the future? The answer is very simple. In quote, the media, they're going to be absolutely murderous when it comes to media in the future. The slightest mistake of the government is going to be openly stated as it is. Reason? Because of the market. Computerized market. Then the numbers are going to have to be truthful, and there is barely no mid person anymore. Reason? Because then the Chinese system is going to provide each person with a computer able then to earn in the system. So then, what is the relationship with the government and media? Absolutely zero. In fact, in the near future, in 36 months, there won't be any relationship with the media and government. They're going to be absolutely separated, and the only function of government is going to be related with services. And governments not producing are going to be absolutely skeleton. In other words, understanding then banking, savings of the banks are going to be absolutely wiped out. Not only this, but then checkings are going to be working as a skeleton status. If the country does not produce and prints out more money, then the economy goes to negative and then does not match the income, and then investments can't be maintained. System halts. Do you know what the media is going to do? It won't be very nice. So if you are a kind of a person of these days working with the media, and try to come up with a deal and trying to be, moderate what you speak, the numbers in the future, they are not going to be as nice. Because people are going to invest their entire savings in a system where never goes down. As we understand, China's economy grows roughly 30% a year. Do you think people are going to waste their time listening to governments? Governments are secondary. That's why the Messiah said in Yohanan, when he was explaining Galah and the freighters of the earth. Do you want to know who is going to be in charge? The freighters. Transports. Governments around the world, they're going to simply shut up. And if they don't do their job properly, they're going to be absolutely busted by the media. That's what's coming. Get used to it. So then, what could we expect as far as roads, ship lanes, ports? Oh boy, the government can start already making the plans. Updating ports, generating more ports, making sure those are properly maintained, and come up with a very nice inventory of maintenance. The situation of people of government, get up in the morning and taking their time and show up for work late. Oh boy. There is no place for those politicians in the future. Those scoundrels are done away with. If we evaluate of what the Messiah has said, we understand precisely. Freighters are going to be making decisions. Governments are going to line up with the freighters, or they are not going to exist. Firstly, because governments are not taxing as they should have. They won't be able to pay their people. So let's evaluate why. You have the great nation of China. It is a socialist government. with the production military style. Never goes down, always goes up. Comes the system, then you download in your computer. You can't read the program. That's a secret. So you make a deal with the foreign government, and then you do trade. What an investor would do for you, you can do yourself. There is an icon over there in the system. You click invest, and you simply indicate the amount. You have to select the product though. As you do a research around the globe, what those products are the most famous or the most sold, then you invest in the product. At the end of the month, you receive a tiny share of it. It's not big, depending on how much you invest. But then if you do this 500 times, 500,000 times, then you get a nice paycheck at the end of the month. But those are not shown in the country where you are at. Only you yourself as a person can know what's in the system. Government can't sneak into your system. Let me ask you this, without having taxation, as the Messiah said, give it to the government what belongs to the government. If the government does not tax instantly, how are they going to pay their people? And without paying their people, do you understand how the media is going to act? Of the utmost murderous They won't have a choice anymore for politicians to play around with a printing machine. If the country does not produce, it halts. So governments around the world trying to control the media, they best forget it. They can't do it. The system won't let in the future. So then governments should then think of not working with retailers. Retailers are gone. Then you find banking not working with savings anymore. The mid person is gone. You have to do your own investment. Simple as you click, you invest, and you close. And you wait until then you receive a report at the end of the month. Governments then not taxing properly, not receiving it, they're going to force themselves of printing out more money, as they do. The distance from production and then maintenance of the economy flow then becomes more wider. As it does, goes to the negative. As the country then tries to invest, they can't because it's negative. There won't be any more politicians BS. So don't try to manipulate the media because they won't be manipulated. Then you find people worldwide awarding parcels from China. Do you think the port is going to be maintained? How is the government going to maintain a port? They are not charging taxes properly. And let me ask you this further. A person is dealing with a governmental system from abroad where countries around the world, they can't read the system. They can be part of it, but they can't read it. So you can have 12 or more digits of investment over there, you don't pay a cent. How is the government then going to deal with this? It is total legal. Absolutely 100% legal. the only chance for the nations is do what the Creator said to do. Be industrious. If they work, they produce, they have a movement of economy, then they maintain a positive. If they don't do it, then goes to the negative, and then the system halts. Then do you think the media is going to be involved with a government that is incompetent? Absolutely not. They're going to defend the system. And if the government, they do not do their job, they're going to be out of a job in a very instant. If they find flaws, people scandalizing themselves, they are out of the job. So let's already make sure we understand what's coming in the future. Freighters from around the world, they are going to be in charge. We understand from nation to nation, the most relevant decisions are going to be made by Arabia because of the first son of Ibrahim. They must receive then understandings of the future from the second son, Yitzhak. Thus, the restoration of the holy cities. Very simple. It's not complicated. But then as far as the world's trade, freighters are in charge. The government doesn't say a word. You're going to watch with your very eyes those politicians that were so big in the past, they're going to be absolutely minute. Incredibly minute. Because the system won't let them. If they are not charging taxes and they are part of the government, they're going to be busted. So what is required? Do what the Messiah said to do. Give it to the government, it belongs to the government. And then obviously do the work, be industrious for 6 days. Couldn't be any simpler. As far as how they're going to deal with the ports without funding, then sometime the freighters must have maybe to step in a situation and try to find out a mid-section where they can get the services covered, because they won't have any, barely any. If you evaluate the economy of many nations, they are in the negative. You don't have to be a genius to understand subsystems such as the euro. Then subsystems trying to work together, as we understand the euro doesn't work. Then when the nations, they log on and then they invest in the system, the Chinese system, then what's going to take place is going to create imbalance in the subsystem of the euro, forcing then Germany, France and the others responsible for this subsystem then to equalize the problem. As they do, they have to take their own cash to give away to other countries because they are linked up. And do you think those unethical countries linked up with the euro are going to give their money? Absolutely not. They're going to invest in the system because it's untracked. Nobody knows what's in the system. So kind of unique. If any country is founded in some sort of a subsystem, best get out of it. Have your own system being as individual, and then generate production. As you do, when the system comes, then you are ready for the positive balance of the system. As you produce, then you print out more money, an equivalent of the production, you generate economy, and you invest and you receive. You maintain the market always up, but then stable. And governments can absolutely be sure of it. The media, they are going to be absolutely murderous. There won't be a word spared. If the government is found at fault, they will to hear it. And without enough taxes to maintain the services, you can imagine 5, 10 ships coming to port, then port is outdated, they don't have enough space, they can't unload, and they must unload. Then the governments can pay their people. And then the captains have only a solution: unload anywhere in the port. The country has to, unfortunately, deal with it. How are they going to make sure they get those parcels then tracked, containers then taxed properly? The nations, they have 36 months to get their acts together and get it done. Otherwise, it's not going to be nice. Enough of this junk of politicians acting up because they have a piece of paper, walking around as big shots. Those people are gone. The system coming is exact. No taxes, no revenue, balance down, system halts. If the government prints out more money, does not match with the production, then the money simply is spent, invested, goes away, and then the debt is further. It doesn't have production to match up with it. There is no way of paying then the workers. You won't be able to have anymore a system where you can only have debt, on the other side printing money. Nations won't have the privilege of anymore of printing money without a proper level of production. Whatsoever was learned during the time of 1,000 years of the city is gone. We are entering an era of exacting times. There is no more space for scoundrel politicians making up time only to get by with it. And trying to kind of cover up their junk and fraud and, being linear with trying to work with the media and blah, blah, blah. Oh, no. And people, they are going to scream after their parcels. Where is my parcel? Yeah, because you're experiencing a high volume. I don't give a damn what you're experiencing. I want my parcel. If they can get a hold of a person on the telephone, because the government won't be able to pay them. Then more aircrafts landing, more ships docking, and no space in the port. Because of the volume. People are logging on with the system. They are purchasing via a system untracked. They have no idea what's coming other than after then the label of the freighter is printed.